Saying that Marvel has a problem with female characters is the same as saying that the sky is blue, the grass is green, and water is wet. Ever since Captain Marvel debuted just before Endgame, the writing has been on the wall. It's been in every unapologetic, smug, hypocritical, smirking, snarky woman that has appeared on screen. From Captain Marvel to Sylvie to Jennifer Walters, Shuri, Yelena, Ghost, Jane Foster, Valkyrie, Agatha, and Echo, we have been treated to a plethora of women that have the collective ability to make me want to peel my skin off with my fingers. And now, we're being treated to one more. Rounding out the list of insufferable women that Marvel has decided to inflict on us like a plague is Riri Williams, who first made her debut in the MCU 3.5 years ago. Marvel has this funny way of doing things like introducing a character in a series or movie from years previously and expecting us to care about them and whatever values they have, or demean them for the ones that they lost. The same thing happened with Echo in the Hawkeye show in 2021, only for her to get her own mini-series at the beginning of 2024. The biggest case in point of this is John Walker, whose biggest crime is a kill he made with some unfortunate optics, and then who became the MCU's punching bag in Thunderbolts. We're expected to laugh and mock him for things that really aren't laughable or mockable. The same is true in reverse for a character like Riri Williams, who appeared on screen in a movie that wasn't nearly as well received as its predecessor, and who we are supposed to care about but really don't. It has been observed in the MCU that for every prominent male hero, there will rise up a female to replace them that will be better and more talented and more righteous and virtuous than they are. We saw this with Thor, who was relegated to a side character in his own film. We saw this with Ant-Man, whose daughter refuses to acknowledge his accomplishments in saving the literal world and outright mocks him for it. We saw this with Sylvie, who was pronounced as the better version of Loki, even though no evidence was given to corroborate that. We saw that with Carly Morgenthau, who isn't even really a terrorist by the end of the show she's in, but instead a tragically misunderstood figure who was proclaimed the new Captain America by her cult followers. And of course, we saw this more recently with Echo as the new Kingpin, and when she was soundly rejected by the audience in mockery and scorn, we also saw it with Vanessa in the most recent Daredevil show. At the very least, Iron Man had the privilege of being killed off before they decided to bastardize his character with another female who was somehow better than him in every way, but the end result is still the same. But maybe the reason that Riri Williams' character is so despised, both in the source material and here, is because she is a character that is based on nothing more than spite. Her entire arc is based on defying the patriarchy and proving herself better than everyone around her. Her teacher saying that she will never be Iron Man after she badgered him into it, and then deciding that she will prove him wrong is not a character arc. An egotistical, selfish man who was kidnapped and then had to make the Iron Man suit in a cave with nothing but a box of scraps, while coming to terms with the fact that his creations have hurt so many people and changing for the better, that is a character arc. But it seems as if Marvel is both a glutton for punishment and currently in a tailspin, given their underwhelming performance in their most recent movies. Because there was zero fanfare for this trailer. Absolutely none whatsoever. This show is set to release in just a few short weeks, and there has been next to no promotion for it. No sneak peeks, no actor interviews, no promo pictures, and for a bit, I did wonder if they were going to drop this show without promoting it at all, just to bury it and hope that no one watches it. Because Marvel seems to have no interest in this show, and are likely going to be giving it something similar to the Echo treatment. The first 3 of its only 6 episodes will be premiering on June 24th. After all, it was set to release in 2023, but the deadline was then pushed back to account for the fact that Marvel was reevaluating their content output. This only months after the disappointing performance of Captain America 4 is somewhat hilarious. But instead of laughing about the clear way in which Marvel is desperately trying to hide this show and only releasing it due to contractual obligations, let's be amused by the actual trailer that just released. As you can see from the trailer, Ironheart will focus on Riri's return from her internship in Wakanda back to her hometown of Chicago after fighting the Talakans with them. During her time there, she had access to Wakandan technology and was able to build a suit, but when she left the borders of the country, she had to leave the suit behind too. Does anyone else find this really ironic, considering that the new Captain America has a suit entirely made out of Wakandan tech that he didn't even build, and he's just allowed to use it with impunity in any way that he wants outside of Wakanda? Like, He didn't even build this, and the Wakandans just made it one for him for some reason and said, have at it, bro. That seems a little suspect to me. But in any case, Riri leaves her suit behind and goes back home, and without any of the tools she used at MIT, she needs to find a way to make a new suit with new allies and other resources. And that's where Uznavi here comes in. Sorry, I meant John Lawrence. No, wait, one more time. The Hood. Even though this character is an established Marvel villain, I need to have words with the person who came up with that name because, good lord. Now, his origins, wherein Parker Robin's father worked closely with Kingpin and turned to a life of crime after his mother fell ill, sounds somewhat interesting in theory. Up until he kills a demon in a robbery gone wrong and steals the demon's hood and boots, which apparently give him supernatural abilities, such as levitation, invisibility, and a knowledge of the occult. So, we're having a tech-based hero face off with a supernatural villain with magic? Somehow that doesn't seem quite right to me. But not a lot of things have seemed quite right to me with Marvel, so maybe this is just par for the course. Riri is of course recruited by the Hood and seduced by his money in order to make the suit because she wants to make something
iconic.
I'm guessing she must have developed some form of amnesia, however, if she thinks that what she's doing hasn't been done before and that anyone won't know that. And speaking of amnesia, she must have developed in the short term as well if she's going to end up working with a person who literally tried to suffocate her to death before she managed to break out of the elevator that she was in. But then, of course, the show just has to constantly remind us how great Riri Williams is.
I heard Riri Williams was a genius. Riri, I see you. I see you're fed up, waiting to be acknowledged for your greatness.
I work with you a lot.
One of the most interesting things about these new feminist Marvel shows is they constantly massage the ego of the main character, telling the audience how great they are, how powerful, how iconic and different. Something that I noticed was never done with the OG characters. It was shown to us how great characters like Thor and Steve and Tony were. We never had to be told that they were doing iconic things because the writers were able to convey that in meaningful ways without ever using dialogue. I don't even know if they're going to acknowledge the accomplishments of Iron Man in this show because Riri is meant to take over for him. And it ends up blowing up in their faces because none of these female characters are half as impressive as they want us to believe. Riri is clearly supposed to be this iconic, brilliant person, and yet she's chewing through live wires with her teeth and working with the same person that tried to kill her via asphyxiation without doing any type of research into who he might be. All he had to do was stroke her ego and offer her money, and she was down for whatever. Yeah, seems like a real genius there. At the very least, Marvel seems as eager to get this show over and done with as they did with Echo. This year might just hopefully be the last of the slop that we have to deal with before Marvel hopefully gets back on the right track. I'm not holding out much hope for that, though. I'm not holding out much hope for Fantastic Four after Cap, Thor, and Thunderbolts, although I would really like to be wrong and maybe Marvel will be able to get a win this year. Because that win certainly isn't going to be this show. Thanks so much for watching this video, guys. What are your thoughts on Riri Williams and Ironheart? Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments section, and let the conversations begin. Until next time, everyone.